Here's what's coming up on today's show.
So that's the whole beauty of having a comprehensive financial plan, is looking at the numbers so that everybody's needs are met and we understand exactly where you stand and what you're doing, and so you know exactly if it's going to work or if it's not going to work.
Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
Got a good quote of the week here for you, Mark. It's from Tom Huddleston, and he said, you never know what's around the corner. It could be everything or it could be nothing. You keep putting one foot in front of the other, and then one day you look back and you climbed a mountain. So,
Makes sense.
It's a planning, it's a gradual process, isn't it?
Day by day, right?
Yeah.
Do the best you can each day, and everything happens over time. So it's all about habits, and we're in a new year, so starting good habits. And what is it they say? It takes 2 weeks for something to become a habit. I just actually told my daughter that. She wants to get working out on a regular basis. I'm like, just force yourself for 2 weeks, and it'll be a habit. So
sort of reminds me of the old joke, how in the world do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
There you go.
I don't know why anybody would want to eat an elephant, but
exactly.
I've heard that before. But I know oftentimes we talk about how it's important to have both people in a relationship. If there is a couple, if you have these folks on the same page with everything. And let's talk about planning for couples. What do married couples tend to disagree about when it comes to money?
Money.
Well, specifically.
Well, I think, usually, we have one that's more of a saver and one that's more of a spender, and it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point of planning, because, you've got to enjoy today, but also save for the future. And so when you get into retirement, you might have one that doesn't want to do anything because they're afraid they're spending too much, and then one that wants to go do stuff because now they're retired and this is what they've been, working their whole life for. So that's the whole beauty of planning, is actually spelling it out and putting everything down in writing. And so we can run the numbers so that, couples can confidently go out there and say, hey, you want to spend money, you want to go on this big trip. We put it in the plan. We ran the numbers. You're good to go. Or, maybe there is a plan in there and you're spending too much, and we say, well, you're not good to go. Maybe you're spending too much per year. Mm-hmm. So, and we don't play favorites. We don't pick sides. We're just simply presenting the data based on their situation, and everybody's situation is different. So that's the whole beauty of having a comprehensive financial plan, is looking at the numbers so that everybody's needs are met and we understand exactly where you stand and what you're doing, and so you know exactly if it's going to work or if it's not going to work.
Some couples don't really agree on the way they feel about things, and a lot of that is just because of a failure to communicate, as they used to say in the old movie, Cool Hand Luke. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but what financial matters do couples often fail to communicate about?
I think there's a couple different things. Money is a sensitive subject, and financial things can cause divorce. That's one of the big things, is financial hardships. And so I think, understanding what goals are and what's important to people. And that's why sitting down and understanding, whether a couple has goals that they want to do together, or if they have bucket list items they want to do separately, and just understanding, money is just a tool, and how they want that tool, what they want that tool to accomplish. And so just talking to people and understanding and having these real conversations, which sometimes can be emotional, because even if a couple's been married a long time, maybe they grew up differently. Maybe one grew up without money, maybe somebody grew up with money, and so they're going to have different experiences when it comes to money, and making sure that, everybody's needs, both people in the couple's needs, are met. And that they're being heard, and that they're getting what they want out of their retirement and those goals that they've set. And, we sit down and actually put, real goals down. And some people don't have written goals, but we put them down and make sure that, if they're in their head, and put them down onto a plan so that they can see those goals. And what do they say? When you write things down and see them, they're a lot easier to achieve than just having something in your head that never gets written down.
Some people just don't like to talk about anything having to do with money. But what are some of the primary things that need to be discussed and decided on between husband and wife before any real, true financial planning can start?
Well, we have to understand what you have and what like I said, the goal setting process is kind of what we talk about. And so, understanding, this is where you are. And some people may feel that they've saved enough. Some people may feel that they haven't saved enough. Is there a magic number for everybody? No, everybody's number is different. I've always tell people the more you make, the more you spend. It's called lifestyle creep. So, it's a real thing and no right or wrong, but that's how things work. And so just understanding what you want to do in retirement and what that's going to cost and, looking at what you've saved, because what people don't realize is that once you do stop working, if you just have Social Security, it's not going to cut it. You may be lucky and have a pension. Very few people do. And so it's creating an income off of the money that you've saved. So it's the balancing act, like we mentioned before, trying to enjoy life now, but also saving for the future. So you've got to put something away and realizing down the road that you need to live off what you've saved. And you can't. So if you spend everything that you make, you will never be able to retire.
We're talking about planning for couples with Mark Silverman. If you'd like to go to his website, you can go to savingwithsilverman.com, savingwithsilverman.com. Big internet presence there. But getting back to the conversation here, I know this is often the case. Is it really okay for one spouse to handle all of the financial matters? Or do you typically encourage both of the folks in the relationship to be heavily involved?
Well, I think usually they're both not equally involved. Sometimes it's just one person that's involved, the other one's not. But we make it a requirement when we sit down with a couple, even on the first meeting, if they come into the office, if both spouses aren't there, even if one handles the investments and handles the financial stuff and the other spouse doesn't, we require both spouses to be there. In fact, we won't have the meeting if both aren't there. And we make it very clear in all of our documentation when we set that meeting. And so it's important that they both are there because goal setting is important. We want to hear from both of them. But yeah, usually there's one person in the relationship that handles the stuff, but they both need to be equally involved as far as goal setting and understanding what's going on. Because quite honestly, if one passes away and the other one doesn't know anything, like even knowing how to write a check, it's a problem. So the more that we can get the non-involved spouse included in the process, the better off they're going to be, because once you lose a spouse, and we've dealt with it more times than I'd like to think about, but helping them through that process, grieving and stuff like that. But if they do have an understanding as far as investments and who they're working with and that sort of thing, it will ease the situation more. So we make it a requirement that both spouses are in the meetings, going through the planning process. But if one handles a lot of the stuff, that's certainly fine. But going through that process, we both need to be involved.
I know we have talked so many times in the past about making sure that both people are on the same page, and I really applaud you for sticking to that policy about not meeting with someone unless the other person is there. I mean, it's just so important. So
yeah, we've lost business because of it, but that's okay. At the end of the day, we want to work with people that we can do the right thing for. And as a fiduciary, we have a responsibility to serve both clients. And it's not just about making money. It's about doing the right thing. And so,
and if you have a conversation with one person, it's likely that even if this person goes back and tells the other person what you talked about, it's going to lose something in translation.
Well, as I tell people, like if they come in for the financial planning process and we have a discussion about what's entailed and we go through all of it, I tell people, like, if I can explain this to you and you can go back to your spouse and explain it exactly as I did, then I'm probably going to hire you. So, and they need to, and on the other side of it, they need to meet us. If we're going to work together, they need to know who they're working with and feel comfortable with that person. If they're not comfortable, they shouldn't be working with us. As if we're not comfortable with them, we won't be working with them either. So it goes both ways.
I know that you have worked with so many people over, the years that you've been in this business, and have helped so many people get to and through retirement. Give us a specific example of a situation where you've been able to help a couple get on the same page and find a retirement plan that they were both very happy and satisfied with.
There's a lot of different examples I can give. I mean, most of the time, and we have couples that have been married a long time that come in. Usually, there's a difference. Like I said, a lot of the times there's a discrepancy. One thinks that they're spending too much, and the other one wants to spend. So it's, and I don't, like I said, I don't pick sides. We simply take and look at everything, all parts of their financial situation, input those into the financial plan, and then simply run the numbers and say, hey, you're good, or hey, you're not good. And if you're not good, here's what you can spend safely. And if that's not good enough, then there's some options, right? We can sometimes tweak the investments, which is an easy fix. But sometimes it maybe means you delay retirement, or you just live on less or save more. So there's some certain options. But I would say the primary example is usually some people don't like the word budget, but what their spending plan is in retirement, how much money they're going to be able to spend in retirement safely without running out of money, and coming up with that number and showing them this is what's possible. We just had a recent situation, this is not the norm, but we just had a recent situation where the client wanted to retire in 2026. We ran the numbers, and they've done a great job saving, and they're actually able to retire in this year, 2025, and he's actually going to retire a year earlier than he was anticipating. So, like I said, I wish that happened more times than not. A lot of times it's the reverse, where they need to continue working in order to have the retirement income that they want. But like I said, we run the numbers, and we just tell it like it is. We don't sugarcoat it.
There's some people out there right now who might be able to retire right away, but they need to come to talk to you and find out. And I know it makes you feel good to be able to pat somebody on the back and say, hey, you've done a great job. You can retire right now. You could have retired 2 years ago.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the whole benefit of what we do. We do offer financial planning as a standalone advice. Do we manage money? Yes, we do. But financial planning is how we start every relationship. So we have clients that maybe just want to use us for financial planning. Maybe they're managing their own money. They just want to double check and make sure that they're doing everything correct. We've worked with so many different people that we can find things that you may be missing. And you just want to make sure that you're doing everything that you possibly can. We can certainly offer that. And we do have a lot of DIYers that come to us for that reason. And then some that wanted to, after we've done the planning, want to engage us for the investment management as well. So it really just depends. There's a lot of different ways we can work with clients. We're not here to trying to sell a product, whereas if you're listening to the show on the radio, obviously, most of the people, almost all, none of our CFPs here in Tucson that are doing the radio shows, but most of them are quite honestly just selling you annuities, which is a product that you probably don't want to be in unless you truly understand it. And it's not a magic thing where they make it sound like it sounds too good to be true. It probably is. And I've said that before. And, one of the people on the radio is now saying that the reason why I say that is because I can't offer this magical product, which I'm here to tell you, I am insurance licensed for one, and two, I'm not going to put clients' money into something that I don't believe in. So whatever they're offering, I could offer too. I just don't, because I want to sleep at night and do the right thing for my clients.
Oh, absolutely. You need to be able to look yourself in the mirror every day.
Exactly.
Feel good about what you do, and I know you love helping folks. 520-333-7601. That's 520-333-7601. Call that number or shoot a text to it, and just make sure that Mark has your name and your phone number. And the good folks at Silverman and Associates will get back with you and set a time for you to have your 20-minute complimentary conversation with Mark Silverman. That is cost-free and obligation-free. Again, 520-333-7601. That's for Mark Silverman in Tucson at Silverman and Associates. You've been listening to the Saving with Silverman podcast. If you have any questions at all about your financial situation, please give Mark Silverman a call. Again, his number is 520-333-7601. Or go online to savingwithsilverman.com. For Mark Silverman, I'm Ron Stutz. We'll see you next time on the Saving with Silverman podcast.
The Saving with Silverman podcast is brought to you by Silverman and Associates Wealth Management, LLC, based in Tucson, Arizona. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show on your favorite app today and never miss an episode. Just search for Saving with Silverman to find us, or visit savingwithsilverman.com to listen to past episodes, to contact Mark, and to learn more about how to make smarter decisions with your money.
Did you know that Mark Silverman also has a radio show? Tune in to Saving with Silverman Saturdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. on AM 790 KNST.
All matters discussed on this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Silverman & Associates Wealth Management LLC and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Silverman & Associates Wealth Management LLC makes no representation as to its accuracy or completeness. This show shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or investment advisory services to residents of any state other than Arizona or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Fee-based financial planning and investment advisory services offered through Silverman & Associates Wealth Management LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Arizona. Insurance products and services are offered through Silverman & Associates, an affiliated company.